Welcome to Gunpowder Quay in Hayle on the Hayle River, where today we explore the fascinating history of this old rotting boat. This vessel has not always been lying around to rot. It does in fact have an amazing history. It has fought in both World Wars, sank a German submarine and rescued trapped soldiers from the shores of Dunkirk throughout its amazing lifetime. Feasible was built in 1912 by John Duffy of Aberdeen as a steam drifter. So her journey began over 100 years ago in Scotland, a time when steam-powered vessels were at the forefront of maritime technology. Remarkably, she still has her original steam winches and derricks. During World War I, Feasible was seconded by the Admiralty and served as a patrol boat. On the 24th of November 1917, she played a pivotal role in the destruction of German U-boat U-48 in the North Sea near the Goodwin Sands. Captained by Kapitänleutnant Carl Edling, U-48 completed 8 patrols during the war period up to that point. She had sunk 34 ships with a total of 104,558 tons. She had damaged 1 ship with a total of 180 tons, and 2 ships have been taken as prize with a total of 5,904 tons. On the night of the 23rd of November 1917, U-48 entered the Dover Straits en route to intercept American troop ships coming in from the Atlantic. Her intentions were to pass over the anti-submarine nets placed beyond the South Goodwins and proceed to the south coast of Ireland. It was never really decided if the vessel's compass was defective or the navigation officer's calculations were at fault, but nevertheless, the U-boat ended up stranded on the North Goodwin Sands. With daybreak approaching, the captain knew they would be an easy target for warships of the Dover Patrol, so he made a decision to lighten the vessel, discarded 60 tons of fuel, and then he jettisoned ammunition including 3 torpedoes. As the dawn light illuminated the Goodwins, the submarine had gained just enough buoyancy to release her from the clutches of the sands. However, their fortunes were short-lived. The mine-sweeping Admiralty drifters, including Feasible, that had left Ramsgate Harbour were the first to sight U-48. They sped in to attack the enemy and successfully managed to force her back onto the sandbank. Although the drifters were only armed with light deck guns and rifles, they managed to hold their prey at bay until the destroyer, HMS Gypsy, alerted by the gunfire, pounded the U-boat with her 4.1 and 2 pounder guns. The tired crew of U-48 determinedly fought the Royal Naval vessels until her deck ran red with the blood of the fallen. The captain decided that he was beaten and he ordered the crew to abandon the craft. Charges were set in the fore and aft torpedo tubes, and as the remaining crewmen swam away from the stricken vessel, the twin explosions erupted, leaving the captain, along with half his crew of over 40 men, dead. The survivors were taken back to Dover, where the wounded were cared for. During the action, Feasible took 1 prisoner on board, who was later transferred to HMS Gypsy. Following World War I, Feasible resumed her peacetime occupation of herring fishing. However, she endured numerous challenges, including 5 accidents, one of the most tragic incidents involving the loss of a crew member overboard during a collision in heavy seas.
The Times, Wednesday the 8th of January 1936. Seaman washed overboard. A Lowestoft fishing boat which was believed to have foundered in Monday's gale-swept seas off the Pembrokeshire coast was yesterday found to have been taken in tow by a trawler heading for Milford Haven. The fishing boat was the 103-ton Feasible, which was severely battered by heavy seas. A member of the crew, Benjamin Halliday, 25, of Lowestoft, was washed overboard and drowned, and one of her boats was swept away. With her compass gone and part of the wheelhouse washed away, the Feasible signalled for aid, and at 3 o'clock on Monday afternoon, she was taken in tow by the St. Gozo. The drifter, a sorry spectacle after her buffeting, arrived in Milford behind the Gozo at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Her crew, tired out, were taken to the Mission for Deep-Sea Fishermen in Lower Charles Street, where, after a hearty meal, they turned in and slept soundly until 1 o'clock. Before the crew sat down to dinner, the skipper, Mr. C. Reynolds, gave our reporter a graphic story of their fight for life. They left Lowestoft, he said, on the Saturday week previous, and they had been fishing a trip of herring off the Irish coast. It was 7 o'clock on Sunday morning when they left the coast, and the weather was gradually getting worse. About 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, they got to the vicinity of the Smalls. They saw a number of trawlers about and decided to dodge the wind until the driving rain cleared. It was nearly 6 o'clock when they shipped a heavy sea, and the vessel heeled over, but righted itself after a while. In this rush of water, the top of the wheelhouse and one ventilator, as well as the small boat, were washed away. The mizzen sail was also carried away. "I saw the sea coming," Captain Reynolds stated. "I shouted, 'Look out,' and then saw the water was over the top of me and the boat was over on the port side, completely submerged, but she gradually righted. The engine room and cabin filled with water, but as the engines were still going, I decided to try and get her up head to wind. Before I could do that, she rolled another heavy sea aboard. I failed to get her around and decided then to go before the wind." Skipper Reynolds, still feeling the effects of an awful experience, paused to collect his scattered thoughts. The crew, he pointed out, worked for 13 hours getting the water out of the vessel, practically all through Sunday night.
At the outset of World War II, Feasible was again requisitioned by the Admiralty, this time as a minesweeper. She was assigned a pennant FY891. The prefix FY stands for Fishery Yards. During World War II, fishing trawlers and other vessels taken into naval service were given this prefix, which identified them as auxiliary vessels assigned to duties such as minesweeping, patrol and anti-submarine warfare. Commanded by Charles Findlay, R&R, she was ordered to Dunkirk. The Dunkirk evacuation, codenamed Operation Dynamo, was the evacuation of more than 338,000 Allied soldiers from the beaches and harbour of Dunkirk in the north of France. The operation commenced after large numbers of Belgian, British and French troops were cut off and surrounded by German troops during the 6-week Battle of France. The retreat was undertaken amid chaotic conditions, and just before 1900 hours on the 26th of May, Prime Minister Winston Churchill ordered Operation Dynamo to begin. Initial plans called for the recovery of 45,000 men from the British Expeditionary Force within 2 days. Only 25,000 men escaped during this period, including 7,669 on the very first day. So Feasible, the minesweeper, was ordered to Dunkirk where she picked up soldiers from smaller vessels that were ferrying them out to her from the beaches. Her engineer, A.A. Storr, was awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. Unfortunately, during one of her returns to Ramsgate carrying rescue troops, Feasible was bombed and disabled.
Stories etched from deep within.
After the war, Feasible was sold to Norway and given the name Melloy. She was re-engined with a 3-cylinder 2-stroke, 220 brake horsepower hot bulb oil engine built by Brunvoll. And then from that time in 1947 right up to 2000, she worked for various companies throughout Norway. In 2000 she was sold to private owners Arctic Shipping of Cowes for restoration, and later that year she was re-engined by Penzance Dry Dock Engineering Co Limited, and she was fitted with an 8-cylinder 4-stroke 280 brake horsepower diesel engine by Rolls-Royce. In 2008, still at Penzance, she was re-registered back to Feasible of Lowestoft. In 2021, she was moored on the River Hayle at Gunpowder Quay, where she could be found today. Her original Norwegian engine was returned to Norway and is now part of the Brunvoll Museum. Today, Feasible's riveted steel hull remains original, though there have been numerous modifications in welded steel over the years, including bulwarks, a hatch and a large deckhouse in place of the engine room. Her significance lies in her ability to demonstrate history through her physical fabric, from her steam drifter origins to her conversion to diesel propulsion. Sadly, Feasible is now rotting away at Gunpowder Quay in Hayle. This 150-ton, 90-foot fishing steamer, with her rich history, including fighting in both World Wars, lies here as a testament to her storied past.
Rusty hull against the tides of time. Once it roared, now whispers rhyme. Sailed through wars and fell the flame. Now it sits without a name. Gunpowder Quay holds tales untold, battles won and lives of bold. Steam and soul, the engine cried, echoes of a nation's pride. Forgotten vessel in the bay, memories of another day. Dunkirk ghosts and salty spray, at Hayle where old dreams decay. Barnacles, they mark its skin, stories etched from deep within. Once a hero, now it fades, lost in twilight's heavy shades. Royal Navy took command, steered it with a mighty hand. Now it crumbles where it lay, silent sentinel to yesterday.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes of history. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.
Cornwall's winds sing mournful blues of sailors' lives and wartime news. Steam to silence, metal sigh, sad goodbye beneath grey sky.